Okay, I won't waste your time. Do not buy the 3060 Ti by Zotac. Alright guys, the Zotac 3060 Ti Twin Edge is a cheap card, no doubt about that. It's the same price as the Founders Edition 3060 Ti, but here in Canada, it's actually a little bit more expensive. So in my previous unboxing video, I said the Zotac was the cheapest 3060 Ti card, and actually I was wrong. It's actually the EVGA 3060 Ti XC Gaming, and actually I think the Gigabyte Eagle OC is, I think they're both cheaper than this. Anyway, even if the Zotac was the cheapest 3060 Ti, I would still not recommend it. Alright, first let's go over the actual card and why the more time I spend with this card, the less I like it, and Zotac's decisions regarding this card. Okay, so first it's compact. It's the same size as the Founders Edition, which is nice. It's got a metal backplate, it's dual slot, standard display port and HDMI connectors, and a single 8-pin power connector, but it doesn't have two things. And one is really important and the other not so much. So let's start with the not so important thing. That's they removed the light up Zotac logo LED. Not a big deal to me. But the second thing they did really made me unhappy. They went out of their way to disable the fan stop feature from the card. And why did they do this? Just so that they can sell an overclocked version of this exact same card with a fan stop and a slight overclock for like 20 bucks more. Just for that. Anyway, okay, I'm not going to go over installation because it's super easy. I'll first talk about fan noise because of the whole fan stop thing, right? So there's no fan stop. When the card is at idle, it's about the same volume as a cheap Cooler Master or Cougar case fan. It's obviously nowhere near as quiet as like a, I don't know, like a Silent Wings or a Noctua, I think a DH12 or something like that, which for me is fine. But the real problem is when this card ramps up to 100%, even when, you know, I'm playing VR games standing 8 feet away from the computer, I can hear it very, very slightly if I turn my volume down low enough. It's like an airplane engine. Now, I gotta say, my old card was a Gigabyte RX 580. I thought that was very loud, which it is very loud, but this Zotac is actually a little bit worse than my old card. Anyway, so I got this card mainly for virtual reality, not so much for Cyberpunk, but I tested mainly VR games, but I also tested Cyberpunk, you know, just so you guys can see how it does, and I'll go through those VR games with you first. So I'm gonna be honest with you, if you are going to play VR and you have the budget, I would recommend going at least a, you know, like a 3070. And the reason is for that is because newer VR headsets, the resolution is going to be 4K or higher, and the 3060 Ti does struggle to achieve 4K at 90 FPS even in some older games. So for example, Elite Dangerous, I'm running this game at max settings at 3.8K approximately from my Oculus Quest 2, which you can also check in the description down below. And you can see the FPS hovering around 40 to 60 FPS. Also, please note that you should add about 10 frames per second to whatever you see, because recording using Afterburner takes away about 10 frames per second from my experience. Okay, so 40 to 60, you should, so it's about, you know, 50 to 70. Still about 20 frames per second away from 90. Okay, the second game is a super old game. It's Payday 2. I actually highly recommend this game. Now, here I get 90 FPS easily because, you know, it's like a 2012, 2013 game, I believe. My FPS, as you can see, is between 70 to 80. So again, add 10 FPS and you get 80 to 90. So no problem there. Now, this game is zero caliber. It's a new VR game, and as you can see, it's basically COD. I'm running at basically 90 frames per second, higher everything, but this is not something to be especially proud of, just because you can see that the environmental textures are nowhere near as detailed as, you know, even the older games like Payday. So I don't believe this is a very hard game to run at 90 frames per second, 4K, and it's optimized for that as well. Okay, the last VR game I'll show you is going to be Fallout 4 VR. But I just want to say, before you guys go all crazy when you see the frames per second, the reason why FPS is so low is not because of the Zotac 3060 Ti, but because this dumb game is so badly optimized. Alright, so I've been browsing Reddit for help on how to get the frame rate up, and I have. But even guys with 3090s, like 3090s, they need a bunch of mods to get it running at max FPS, 4K 90. And as you can see here, my FPS hovers, what is it, around 40 minimum. So just add 10 to that and you're looking at 50 to, in my experience, about 90 FPS depending on the area. Alright, so far this is about how I expected the 3060 Ti to perform in VR games. I knew it wouldn't get max FPS and everything because I was too cheap to buy a 3070, even if I could get my hands on one. But where I got really disappointed was Cyberpunk. I don't know why, it runs really badly on the 3060 Ti. I don't think it's Zotac's fault or Nvidia's fault, it's probably Cyberpunk's fault, but I'll check out more just to see why. In summary, I get 40 to 60 FPS at 1440p on lowest settings. That's insanely bad. Like, other people don't even get, quality like that. I might do a separate video just on this. With RTX on and DLSS on ultra performance, it drops to about 20 to 40 frames per second, which is also horrible. Anyway, I'll look more into that. I suspect it's gotta be something to do with settings, and I don't know, but I am like a 99% sure someone on Reddit has found some genius way to get the frames per second up. Anyway, okay, that's all I had for you today with the review of the Zotac. Here's my advice for you. Don't buy the Zotac. Buy another 3060 Ti like the EVGA or Gigabyte or Asus. It's going to be better value for money. However, since video cards are so hard to find, then I gotta say, if you have no choice and the Zotac is the only one available, then just buy it. Sure, the Zotac isn't great value, but it's better than not having a card at all or waiting like 4 months for there to be stock or for the price to drop a little bit. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.